Okay, 12/7/19. The unfairly maligned Mrs. Maisel. I binged Maisel yesterday. Later, I read a couple of predictable online reviews. They said or implied that the show was dangerous escapist nostalgia, glossing over a difficult time, giving a sentimental and comforting treatment to good old days that never were. Fashion is created to be glorified and destroyed. Last year's perfection is this year's dreck. Star actors and writers are made to be objects of adoration who turn into fakers and frauds in the second act. Fashion critics erect marble statues of idolatry and mold feet of clay to attach to the idols on cue. I don't do criticism. I do art, and I look for it anywhere and everywhere. The marvelous Mrs. Maisel is art achieved with a seemingly blank checkbook. A true voice can be heard on a blog or with the reach of Amazon Prime. The material dimensions don't matter to me. The art is the thing. The voice is the thing. I don't know what show the fashion critics were watching. The fashion critics say the show is about 1960, the year rendered in season 3. They are wrong. The show is set in a fairy tale version of 1960, but that era is not what the show is about. The show is about, in no particular order, racism, feminism, the Hollywood blacklist, friendship, dilettantism masquerading as left-wing politics, courage and cowardice, homophobia, the struggle between art and commerce, the tension between romance and realism, familial love, older people pursuing dormant and suppressed passions, free speech and martyrdom related to free speech, drug addiction, look very closely, it's there, sin and redemption, and much more. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is an epic video novel told with an idiosyncratic and energetic voice. It is a joyous and passionate work celebrating music and colors and actors and words that the creators love. The fashion critics only see the surface, the costumes and the art direction of the piece, and accuse the creators of the critics' own superficiality. Let me read that again. The fashion critics only see the surface, the costumes, and the art direction of the piece, and accuse the creators of the critics' own superficiality. The show is done with such skill that the shallow eye smugly says that it's just showing off. The creators create a world, not the real world, a representation of their own perceptions, a world that celebrates what they love in the natural earth and chastises the lies that betray what is natural. The plucky characters of Maisel instruct and inspire the audience. They roll with the punches of exploitation and mendacity thrown at them by inferior beings, never letting the obstacles deter them from loving who and what they love. The characters' inner lives are expressed in quick brushstrokes of witty one-liners and in huge set pieces, in vast, high-ceiling rooms or wide-open spaces under cloudless and limitless skies, populated by active scores of extras, seen by a bold and sensitive camera, capturing scope and nuance at the same time. Maisel is not realistic, it is true. It takes the mixed bag of the world and gives it meaning. The show says that we are responsible for our own lives and that we can do anything if we have courage within the limitations of life and death and our natural endowments, and if we can humbly learn from what the impulses of our hearts and the world's responses to the impulses of our hearts can teach us. It is only right that Midge and her family and friends deal with dumb criticisms from lesser hearts and minds in the trivial press. It gives them something else to process and transcend. Buster Keaton's films involved his navigating a series of obstacles, and so did his life. He was the toast of Hollywood and a jobber, hanging on for dear life, doing commercials and getting favors from Charlie Chaplin. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel's creators are having a moment in the sun. They have reached a zenith, and smaller people want to bring them down to size. If they stay true to the truth that they express in this wonderful show, this work of art, all that is small won't matter. Art serves life, and life can be as great as our bold acceptance of it can make it. Whether we are up or down, all the rage, or the innocent objects of the rage of the fearful. Art uses whatever material is available. The spirit can express itself through the medium of millions of dollars or through a stick figure drawing under a refrigerator magnet. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is what art looks like when the artists have all the material in the world at their disposal. Copyright 2019, Richard Thomas.